Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your two usual hosts here. We've got Tom Mannering.
Hello.
And myself, Josh Hartley. How are we doing this week, Tom?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've been very busy with one thing or another, and obviously we've not done an episode for a few weeks since Tabletop Scotland. So
yes,
we're back in the saddle for today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm grand. I've been similar. Just like September has been like rammed for me, so been keeping very busy. But well, we may as well get the news out of the way now. So, guys, this is going to be our final episode. Or final for now. We might come back to it in years to come. I don't know. But we hit 5 years this month. And we kind of, between one thing and another, Tom and I thought now was a good time for it to draw a line under the Unlucky Frog and step aside. So
I think it's life gets in the way, right? You know, there's the Jurassic Park saying life finds a way. It also kind of gets in the way. And you know, during COVID and things, obviously people didn't have much to do, but the world has changed once again, and now obviously people do have things to do. And
they want to do it with us, Tom.
They want to do it with us, which is weird, really, given that I'm an asshole and you're you. So,
wow! I mean, you got in the self jab there doesn't make up for that.
I think it does. But I think, you know, we always want to do this podcast right, and if we're not giving it 100%, then we're not doing it justice.
Yeah,
you know, we've got other things that we want to be doing, and we've had some really good times. We're kind of going out on a high with a return to Tabletop Scotland as well, earlier in a month ago now. So I think it's a good time, and we've mulled it over, and now's a good time to draw a line under it. And who knows, maybe one day down the line we may return, but no promises. But I don't want to do a Sean Connery and say never again, and then go and do a subpar film. Not a great, not even official Bond film. Yeah. I'm glad you got the reference.
Yeah, I know, I got it. Hey, they've got all the Bond films on Amazon Prime at the moment. You must be. Is it Amazon Prime or is it?
It is Amazon Prime. But I actually own all the Bond films. I got. Do you remember when they did the big like long black box that had like 007 along the edge? Well, my dad got that, and I inherited it off my dad recently. He gave it to me. So I have all the Bond films, and then I bought all the ones that came after it as well. So I have my own Bond collection. So I don't need a streaming service. I have analog.
Yeah, you've got it on DVD.
Old school, man. That's a weird thing.
Yeah. So I suppose now's a good opportunity to do some good old reminiscing. What's sort of been the highlight for you for Unlucky Frog?
I think this is going to be a little bit heartfelt, which is not something I do often. It's hard to pick a highlight because it's just been good fun. I think especially I came on sort of year 2. I think I came on kind of doing the RPG stuff for you guys, and then obviously when Ben sort of took a step back, I picked it up.
And Charlotte as well.
And Charlotte as well. But it was Ben kind of initially, and then the two of them obviously took a step back. The highlight for me is kind of during COVID. It was a lifeline. You know, it was a chance to get to hang out with you and like the guests that we had on. You know, whether it was Ewan or Ryan or other folk that would come on and join us. It was that was kind of really a lifeline for me, and it was an excuse to have something to do and something to talk about. Which, you know, when COVID was quite difficult, if you were living on your own. I mean, it was difficult for everyone, but if you were living on your own, it could get pretty isolated. So I think it's not as much a highlight as much as I really appreciated it for that as a kind of a distraction. That doesn't do it credit, but I think that's probably for me was kind of, I really remember kind of the episodes we did over COVID. and having a lot of laughs. And as cruel as I am to Josh, and I can be very cruel to him, he's a good guy, and I do want to kind of close off with that you know, he's a lot of fun to work with. We do have a lot of laughs on and off these episodes, so that's been my highlight, buddy. It's been working with you.
And funnily enough, that's exactly what I was going to say. It was, I think the highlight has been creating something with a bunch of people I love, like be it with you, with Ben and Charlotte, and then we've had a bunch of people involved in episodes here and there, like Ewan and Ryan, Scott, Lanky Santa, can't forget Lanky Santa. Of course, the Tabletop Scotland guys as well have been great. They were always great to have on.
Yep.
I suppose, like, from a sort of professional angle, I'm quite proud of the work we did at Tabletop Scotland, particularly this year. I thought it all came together pretty well. And we've had some really good guests. We had Steve Jackson on somehow. I don't know how Charlotte pulled that, but we got him. So,
I mean, we've had to. We got to. Obviously, you had Steve Jackson on. We got to interview the guys at Paizo, which was a big kind of get for me. Although Jason Bowman didn't love talking to me, but that's maybe a different.
We can say this stuff now.
Yeah.
Have you got any hot takes that you've been too scared to put onto recording?
Not really, mate. Because you know me, I'll say it as it is. Like I don't really care, and my kind of opinion of Jason Bowman is not the highest. I've found him. I've met the guy a couple of times, and he's never really been that pleasant to be around. I will say, conversely, Eric Mona is a lovely guy on the other side of the coin, and he was at the same interview, and I've met Eric a couple of times at different events, and he's a lovely, lovely guy. So they're maybe they're the equivalent of me and you. You know, one's an asshole, one's a nice guy. Who knows? Maybe that's just a persona. But yeah, it's been really cool, kind of getting involved in that stuff. I do think the conventions that we did both pre-COVID. When we did UK Games Expo.
Oh my god, that trip to UK Games Expo in 2019 was something else.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. It was absolutely knackering, but had so much fun with you and Ben there.
I was chatting to Ben about it. I saw Ben a couple of weeks ago, and funnily enough, I was chatting to him about it, and he said, I don't know if he said it was the best thing, but I think it was definitely a highlight for him. It was a good excuse to get you to buy us steaks.
Well, you guys have been buying me dinner previously. I just chose steaks on the night that I was buying dinner.
You upped the level though. Like we'd kind of gone for pub dinners and stuff, and then it was like the last day we said where we're going to go. And I don't know if it was your suggestion or it was Ben's suggestion, but somebody suggested this steakhouse. And we went, and I remember the bill was pretty high. To say the least. Well,
it was 3 steaks and sides and drinks and everything. So I was happy to get it because it was such a good weekend.
It was.
But that was another highlight. And some of the other trips we had as well. Aircon was good fun as well. Went to Karen.
I didn't do Aircon. Or Canada.
You didn't do Aircon, no.
You did.
I did, and that was fun. As was Karenade, trying to do the bring and buy challenge with Ben, sort of like a weird bargain hunt with Warhammer miniatures. That was good fun. It's. I think I will say, it does feel like a good time to bring it to a close. Like, I'm nostalgic for it. I'm proud of what we've done, but if I'm honest, it's like, I think I'm ready to step away from this now.
I think one thing we kind of discussed as well, it was when we were at Tabletop Scotland this year, was when you go to these things, and anyone who's listening that's involved in any kind of media or anything like that, or even who goes as like a volunteer for these things. When you go in any kind of official capacity, and I'm sure maybe even Dave and the guys at Tabletop Scotland will echo this, it's difficult to enjoy it because you're so focused on doing a good job.
You've got you've got in your head, I've got a job to do and I need to do it.
You've got targets to hit, whether it's you've got seminars to record or interviews to get in the bag, or even if it's just when you're going round, you're looking at it through a professional lens rather than through a consumer lens. And we discussed it at this year's Tabletop Scotland. We said, it'd be good to actually go to these events again, whether it's Tabletop Scotland, UK Games Expo, or any other event, just as a punter, just to go and enjoy a day or a weekend at these events, because as much fun as they have been to work at, whether it was doing seminars or interviews or taking photos or whatever, when you go and you sit down and you play a game, for example, you'll sit down and you'll play a demo game, you're looking at it with a critical eye. You're thinking, okay, well, how easy is this going to be for a new person to pick up? How cost effective is the game? You have this kind of critical lens towards it, and you're not really there to enjoy it in a way. So I've already spoke to Dave myself about next year's Tabletop Scotland, and I said to him, we obviously won't be coming back, obviously because we're media partners. We had to make them aware a little bit earlier of the situation. And I said, we won't be coming back in that capacity, but I'd quite like to come back and GM a few games, because that's one thing I've not been able to do since we really did this. I used to go to conventions and GM at them, and I used to love it, and I used to hold a convention to GM at.
TomCon.
And I miss doing that. I miss doing a bit of GMing and getting to attend the event as a punter. So I suspect I'll certainly still be making an appearance at some conventions in a GM capacity, and as a consumer.
Likewise, I'm very much looking forward to going to a convention as a punter and not with a job to do. So that is going to be nice. I do have I bought this last year. I bought a thing off an auction, and I have been saving it for some sort of unboxing video that has never materialised. So Tom, will you humour me for a moment while I do this unboxing?
I've done it for 4 years.
You've done it for longer. How long have we known each other?
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Right. So let's get some good ASMR here.
Get that sounding.
This is in the bubble wrap at the moment.
I'll do like an audio description. Josh is holding a bubble wrap package, approximately an A4 size.
I'd say it's a little bigger than A4. This looks more like A3 to me. Excuse me. Right. Hold on. Let me just... Right. So, beneath the bubble wrap is more packaging.
He gingerly unpacks the wrapping.
Thomas just now watching me struggle with this box. This is great content.
That is a lot of packaging for like one box, to be fair.
They were definitely... I mean, the here's how the auction houses get you, by the way. You have the hammer price.
To get you on the packaging.
No, I think they charged me 20 quid for the packaging, postage and packaging. The swines. Anyway,
he's now opening a secondary package. The package is
and here we go. So,
unwrapping it.
What have we got here, Tom?
This appears to be a Magic the Gathering starter gift box. That looks very old.
So, the reason I wanted to get this... Oh, the box is a little damaged, actually, but that's fine. I remember owning this as a kid.
Okay.
So, it was my mum. My mum goes on, like, auction websites just to look for just nice things.
You gotta have a hobby.
She spotted it. Sorry?
You gotta have a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And she spotted this and sent me the link. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to get that. I'm going to treat myself. So this is a starter gift box. Magic the Gathering. Starter gift box. A Richard Garfield game.
Yeah, it is. Are you willing to say on air how much you paid for this?
I honestly can't remember. so we can't. I remember how much I paid for the postage and packaging, but that's it.
That's what you took umbrage with.
So let me
paid £200 for the box, but 20 quid for
the box lid is kind of stuck to the rest of the
oh no
the box. This is and it's caved in a little bit, but I think hopefully the innards will be will still be safe. Right, here we go. Here we go.
That's what you want, really. I can't describe this because all I can see is Josh reaching under camera and struggling, which is again not an uncommon sight.
So we've got a giant card.
Okay.
A giant Thorn Elemental card.
White bordered giant card. That's classic.
Oh, this will all be white bordered cards. Gail's going to be delighted when I put this up in the house somewhere. We've got a box here that just reads game. So we've got 2 40-card ready-to-play decks of starter cards, 2 play mats, a play guide to take you through the game step by step, an easy-to-read rulebook for complete rules reference, 2 scorekeeping beads, and a limited edition fantasy art print. So this will be the art print, I'm guessing, the Thorn Elemental, maybe. I don't know. Let's tear into this.
Gentle rustling plastic. Yep, this is our last episode, folks. This is how we go out.
Hey, look, it's not going to be much longer.
Not with a cry, but a crinkle of plaster.
There we are. So we've got... The decks are just labelled Player A and Player B. And yeah, the playmat, we've got the rules and everything here.
Is the playmat like a folded up piece of paper by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. No expense spared, Wizards. But here's the best bit of this. Because we have a starter instructional video.
Oh, VHS.
VHS.
Love it.
Magic the Gathering. Warning. Removing the Magic the Gathering starter video from this case is like opening Pandora's box.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Unimaginable monsters with razor-sharp teeth and really bad breath are dying to escape. And that's just the other players.
Does it say that?
No, it doesn't. Okay. This video shows you how to summon them at will and unleash them on your friends. So, ready to deface the enemy? Not defeat, deface.
Jesus.
This instructional video takes you deep into the Magic the Gathering universe, teaching you step by step how to play the world's most popular trading card game. It's packed with all the tips and strategies you need for a fast start. And this is a power format VHS.
Man.
I don't have a VHS player.
I had one until I moved, but I got rid of it because it was, a VHS player.
Yes.
And I don't own a single VHS and haven't for a very long time. That's crazy, man. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing when I did Magic at the time. So
yeah, the video, if I recall, is peak 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just for context, this set is the copyright information on the back of the box was 1999. So this is pretty old.
That's old. That's 23 year.
But yeah, no, I just saw it. I remembered having it as a kid, and I thought, why not?
Why not? I mean, the big question for you, Josh, is: are the decks any good?
Oh, I mean, they're starter cards, so I can't.
A bunch of comments.
Yeah. Oh, do not shuffle. See play guide. So they were doing that sort of thing, like the whole tutorial game. I
remember.
I think the rules have changed though, because I'm pretty sure Mana Burn was still a thing when this was released.
Mana Burn would definitely be a thing like that. That didn't change until the cards went black bordered for sure. So if it's white bordered cards, you'll be looking down Mana Burn.
Yeah.
It's very I remember sort of peak 90s. There was this kind of fad of. Since this is our last episode, I'm going to wax lyrical, unsurprisingly, as I want to do. There was this fad of games doing like instructional and promotional videos. So I worked when I was still a teenager, before I even went to university. I worked in a toy shop in Burnley called Ben's Toys. It's long gone.
Not affiliated with our Ben.
No, it's unfortunately long gone now. It's just a little private toy shop, but they had a little 40k section, a little collectible card game section, and I basically got hired there when I was about 15, 16 to deal with that side of the store. Like the downstairs was all like kiddies' toys, you know, like dolls and Action Man and all that.
Yeah.
And then upstairs were kind of your more mature toys and like your jigsaws and your board games and stuff. And you had your 40k, your fantasy and all that, and your role playing games. And that's how I kind of got into all that stuff. I remember my mum taking me there when I was like 12 to get Warhammer. Anyway, when I was working there was when the Lord of the Rings strategy game originally released, and the floor that I worked on had a little CRT TV up at the very back of the shop in like the corner with a really shit little VHS player underneath it, and Games Workshop sent us out a VHS how to play Lord of the Rings.
Excellent. I love it.
And it played on repeat, right? And every time it finished, we had to rewind it and play it again. And I can still vividly remember the majority of that video because I saw it on repeat so much. Like it must have only been about 40 minutes long max.
Yeah.
And you know, we'd work there like 7-8 hour days, and it would play on the course of a day about 10 times. And yeah, I vividly remember that. And it wasn't the only one. There were a couple of other like things that released various VHSs as well. I remember there was this like model airplane that you could build, but then you could like, it was like kind of built form, but you kind of built it up, but then you could like throw it, like and it would fly, right, effectively in inverted commas. But the video for it had Backstreet's Back on repeat on it for some reason. Just replay Backstreet's
like the
Back.
Company splashed out on getting that music.
Yeah. So when the Lord of the Rings video wasn't on, it was Backstreet's Back just on repeat as well.
Wow.
So yeah, good times. That's VHS for you. Probably good. It's gone. In many ways.
Probably.
So
before we sign off, we've got a lot of thank yous.
Yes.
To make.
Well, before we do thank yous,
which
it is part of thank yous, but obviously with us closing up shop for the foreseeable, if not indefinitely, we really appreciate everybody who's supported us as a Patreon. We've sort of asked for your coin, and many of you have been very kind enough to give it to us in various denominations. Please, if you are a Patreon, with our humblest of thanks, cancel your Patreon. Please don't send us any more money. We're going to try and close it down, but there's a little bit of administration that may take some time. So if you do hear this and you are a Patreon, please do cancel your Patreon subscription and accept our massive thank you for supporting us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if it hadn't have been for your support, we would have had to pay for all of this out of our own pockets, and over 5 years that adds up very
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So so obviously thank you very much to our patrons. Thank you to Ben, Charlotte, Ryan, Ewan, Scott, Lanky Santa, Callum, Iona, anyone else who has hopped on as a guest / host. I'm not forgetting anyone out that list, am I?
Not off the top of my head.
No. Cool. Thank you to my co-host Tom.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. The guys at Tabletop Scotland, it was absolutely fantastic having the opportunity to work with them as well, and letting us be daft and run a silly pub quiz on the Saturday night as well. Which we did at like lightning speed this year because we were against the clock.
Yeah, I had to pack up like within 30 seconds and get out the door. It was eventful.
Thank you to anyone who has appeared as a guest being interviewed by us as well. We did a lot of that in the early years of the podcast as well, and helped us out a great deal. Specifically, I don't know, there's too many to mention now. Anyone else that we need to thank, Tom? We went through this list before we started recording, and I can't remember.
Everybody who's listened to us over the past 5 years. So even if you haven't, been a Patreon, thank you for listening to us, for whether it was, you know, just you, or whether you passed it on to a friend, or whether you've, you know, been an intermittent listener. Every person that's joined us has counted, and it's made doing this worthwhile over the well, for me, for the last 4 years, and I'm sure Josh would echo it for the last 5. I think that's it, really. Just a massive thanks. You know, we couldn't have done this without all the other people that have been involved in it in some form, whether it was directly, you know, as directly as Ben and Charlotte as setting it up on day one with Josh, or the people that have supported us in the background that you maybe haven't seen on the episodes as much, you know, people like Iona and Lanky Santa stroke Callum, or the people you have seen more directly. But yeah, just a massive thank you across the board. It's been a lot of fun. You know, there is a degree of obviously sadness leaving this behind, but as we said at the start, it's the right time for it, and if we're not going to do it right, it's not worth doing. So that's that.
Right, yeah. Well, as always, guys, thank you very much for listening, and until next time, take care. Bye.
Why say until next time?
Habit, I don't know, man.
Just keep that in.
Yeah.